And you obviously saw some of this on the other side at Salesforce. How can you tell? I've learned certain tells, but how can you tell if someone like Microsoft, whether it's a high enough priority, are they going to go the distance? Like, it's one thing to launch a product, because if you're Microsoft, you have 100 great engineers, just extra, right? But will you go years 2, 3, and 4 without revenue? Will you build Chatter into a Slack competitor? Are there tells that you saw that maybe it wouldn't be their top priority?
There are, yeah. I think they're different for different companies. Like Salesforce launched a competing product too.
Yes.
Um,
Was that scary too, having worked there, or was it less scary?
that it was less scary just because they didn't have control of email. Uh, and
Ah,
email is a really important app for employee identity. And this was when the company was 100% employee identity. Now it's about 25% customer identity. So anyways, so Salesforce was less scary just because of that. But I remember that when they announced it, it was not even part of Dreamforce. They leaked it before Dreamforce, like as a pre-leak.
ah.
And once they did that, I knew they weren't serious about it.
Oh, I might have guessed it was the opposite. It's we're gonna promote it twice. We're gonna leak it, and then we're gonna
No, and
promote
then
it
it
on
didn't show
stage.
up at Dreamforce. I
Oh,
was
it
like,
did
oh,
show. Then you knew. You
they're not
knew.
serious. Yeah. And with Microsoft, what the tell was what the features they were delivering were, you could tell that they weren't doing things for identity. They were doing things for Office 365. So they were doing
I
things to
see.
make
Too
it,
focused on them as their own vendor, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah. They
Yeah.
weren't, you can tell they weren't going after the customer requirement. They're going after which I understand why Microsoft would do this too. They're making sure that the $20 billion communication collaboration business thrive. And that was, I think,
Well, that's where you can almost always win, right? If the big guy is focused on a single cloud or a single app, and you're going multi-cloud, multi-app, it's impossible. They're never going to have the investment, the Salesforce or Microsoft, at someone that's going to serve hundreds of vendors, right? They'll never have it, will they?
yeah, it's just it looks on the surface. A lot of people, especially in technology, people look at products and they overfit different products to being the same, right? So they'll look at our identity and Microsoft's identity and they'll say, oh, they're both identity. It's the same. They're competing. But the reality is that it's when you really get into the details, an independent identity product that's going to connect you to multiple clouds and multiple
Yes.
systems is pretty different than
It's
what
pretty
they
different.
have, which is pretty coupled to their environment.